Hi, welcome to another episode of the Eko Podcast, a series of discussions based around the global revolution of remote work. Today's topic is all about working from home from the employee's perspective. My name is Chan. I'm a project manager here at Eko. Today I'm joined by Gracia, a development partner for a Singaporean public service agency, and for Nan, an experienced product content writer and moderator at Traveloka Thailand. So glad you guys could join us today.
Hello.
Hi, hello.
Hi. So just to get into this discussion, could you perhaps tell us a little bit about your work to start?
Okay. My name is Gracia, and as Chan mentioned, I work for a Singapore government agency. My day-to-day works directly with a lot of companies, Singaporean companies in particular, and we help them with economic development. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Nan, how about you?
I'm really nice. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Tirada Musri, or you guys can just call me Nan, like throughout the podcast. I work for Traveloka Thailand, and for those of you who haven't heard about Traveloka before, we are a tech company with a mission to enrich people's lives by empowering them to discover the world around them. So, as a product content writer, for experience, my role in experience is to create content and write copies both in Thai and English to show on our storefront for our users.
Just for the people who haven't used Traveloka, could you tell us a little bit about what experience is, please?
Oh, of course. So, like in Thailand, right this moment, we do have like multiple products for our user. For example, flights, hotels, and experience, which includes like, for example, the tickets to attractions, day tours, to beauty and spa services that you can book in our platform.
Okay, so it's for when people are in places, they can then find things to do from the platform as well.
Yes, and you
Okay,
you
that's
don't
cool.
and you don't have to travel to like other places or other countries. You can just like find the experience in your own city to like go explore in your own area.
Very cool. I might have to check that out to find some new restaurants or something.
Yes, please do.
Okay, so sticking with you, what does your usual workday like? I assume you go to the office, correct? Like most of us?
Yes. Earlier, of course, before COVID-19.
Now, Gracia, could you please let us know a little bit
Sure.
about what your usual workday would look like?
Yeah. So I guess my usual day would start around 8:30 in the morning in the office. But before that, that would mean jostling with the public on public
Yep.
transport. So very similar, I guess, to the MTR in Bangkok.
Mhm.
And then yeah, usually I have a bunch of meetings to go to. Depends really on the schedule. But I guess one area that is really fun is that I often get to visit the companies. So
Okay.
oftentimes, at least once or twice a day, I would be going out of the office to go to another company's office just to have a meeting with them. And then yes, usually, we come back for more meetings. Sometimes
Yeah.
we just sit at the desk. Yeah, and
Okay.
then usually I would end work at about 7 or 8, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So you're usually in the office, but you do get to travel a fair bit.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
So, Nan, how about you?
All right, so I would say like the working time here at Traveloka is really flexible. It depends on the team that you're in. So my team start working around 10 and a half. So before that, I would just like wake up at 9 and I just get ready and take the BTS, which is similar to the MTR in Singapore. And then, it takes just 15 minutes and then I arrive at my office and I just like check on Asana, like what is going on today? What do I have to do today? And then we have lunch in the office because like they provide lunch every day. So we don't actually have to go out in the office
Okay.
area to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
some lunch. And then after that, I just maybe we have some meetings with other teams and I'll just get down to writing until the end of the day. Normally I finish work at 6 or 6 and a half, and that's it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said that you usually commute for about 15 minutes per day. Is that right?
Yes. That's very advantage. Like I gain a lot of advantage for that, because from my home I walk to BTS and then I just take the BTS. I don't have to like
Yep.
change the line or
Yep. Yep.
doing all that jazz. So it takes only 15 minutes to the office building.
Okay, Gracia, how about you? How long do you commute
Oh,
each day?
it's about an hour.
Each
So it's a
way
little
or in
bit
total?
longer. Yeah, a lot longer.
So it's an hour each way.
Yes, an hour each way.
Okay, so that's about the same as me.
Yeah.
Okay. So before this, have you worked from home before? How often do you do that? Do you get the chance to, Gracia?
Yeah. So I guess my office does give quite a bit of flexibility on that. Although I don't really exercise it. I guess pre-COVID times.
Yeah.
I guess if we wanted to, I mean, if we had some, conditions or appointments, yeah, we could actually have just inform our bosses that we would like
Yep.
to work from home that day. And yeah, in a way it was actually encouraged to actually practice that at least once a week. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Interesting. All right. How about you, Nan?
Actually, like it comes down to the team policy as well. So like for example, my team, we do develop our own policy where if we reach our weekly target, we get 1 day of working from home. And then and sometimes like some of my team member, they gather like a lot of working from home that they get, and then they just like work 5 days a week from home, and it's their choice because they reach the target. So yeah, we're quite familiar with working from home even before COVID-19. Yeah.
Okay, so for you and your company is more like an incentive, right? If you meet your targets, then you get to work from home.
Yes, but this is like only my team.
Yeah. Okay, we'll keep it a secret. So do you do that often for you personally? Do you work from home like maybe once or twice a month, or do you sort of save up to get the huge chunk?
Actually, I prefer like just it's like the next week or the next few weeks. I don't like to like gather like them to be like a lot, like many days, and then just like use at one, because then you're stuck at home and you have to work. It's not like you're going like anywhere or you're just like chilling at home.
Well, I can work and still chill at home.
Yeah.
So in that case, okay, so you don't usually work from home very often, or you do in small like periods of time. Did you find the transition between regular office life and working from home a big one? None?
Well, actually, yes, because like even though we are familiar with working from home, as I told you earlier, but it's different because right now we switch, we transform to working from home full time. Right now we are talking 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So it got off a rocky start for me actually, because the big challenge for me is that I mentally label my home as like my comfort zone. So I try to keep work away from home as far as possible. So when it comes to creating boundaries or maintaining work-life balance, that was very challenging.
Did you have to find like a little corner of your place to set as like your workspace? Or do you kind of move around depending on your mood?
At first day, like I was actually working from my dining table because I didn't have like an actual office space at home, and it was unhealthy.
Okay. I can relate to that. Gracia, how about you? Transitioning from a regular office hours to working from home?
Yeah, it wasn't easy as well. I live with my parents, so it can get quite noisy. I think many people will relate to that. And yeah, like what Nan said, really finding that boundary, because quite similarly, my room is it's a little bit like a sanctuary. It's where I just put pause on all work, and so it was a little bit of a struggle to find that balance. And yeah, for the first week, it felt really great that I could wear my pajamas and like work.
Yeah,
I realized after that that wasn't helping, and so I really tried to not do that anymore. I got out of bed and I would actually make like change into actually a proper work outfit. Put on a little bit of makeup and all that, just to make me feel like, yeah, this is not yeah, it's not. I'm not at
Now I'm at
home
work now, working
relaxing.
time.
I'm
Yeah.
at work. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
There's a whole new genre of content about
Right.
working from home productivity tips. I guess one
Yes.
of the things I see very often is definitely set boundaries with anyone who's in the same space as you, finding your own routine in order to make sure that you're not rolling out of bed straight into work, having like a little pause in between the start and the end in order for you to actually have a proper separation between work and home. How did you cope? You changed into some clothes, you put on some makeup. Is there any like routine that you've come up with since you started working from home?
Yeah, I make my bed. Start with
Okay.
that. So you don't get tempted to go back in.
Right.
Yeah. And then I make breakfast. That's one
Yeah.
thing that I've always liked to do. Even when I was in the office, it would be to have breakfast while I clear my emails first thing in the morning.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
something I continue to maintain. I'll bring my breakfast to my work desk,
Yeah.
and then yeah, just continue having that. I guess one thing that I have at least successfully put into my routine for the last 2 weeks would be to get up every like 2 hours to do like a quick workout. So it's like a five
Okay.
ten minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I
That's good.
realized that it was just a lot more sedentary, right? Like I had like an hour commute, and oftentimes I'll be standing up.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of activity, walking around and things like this. And now it's practically like zero. So every 2 hours, I walk around, I do a bit of a workout, and then I go back and continue working. So that has helped a little bit. But I'm still struggling a little bit in terms of like
Yeah.
finding a good meal time. So I have lunch like all over the shop, like all the time. Yeah, I don't know. Lunch can be 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
a
Yeah.
know.
lot easier when everyone is in the office. You can see when
Yeah,
people are leaving, and you'd be like, "Oh, that reminds me. I should probably go get some lunch now."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nan, how about you? Did you find something, a new piece of routine, perhaps something you did differently now since you've been working from home?
Yes, yes, of course I did. Actually, like I can relate to Grazia a lot because when you go to work at the office, you have this transition from switching from staying at home to working by commuting,
Yeah.
by standing up in the
Mhm.
BTS or something. But when at home, you're just, sliding from your bed to your work desk. So it's like it's barely. So
Yeah.
right now, like in the morning, I do drink like this avocado juice that I like just bought like every 3 days. So it's kind of
Okay.
like my morning transition. And then
Okay.
in the evening, it's like I like at 6 p.m. or 6 and a half, I would open like one episode of like Netflix series that I like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like 20-30 minutes, and that's like zoning you out from working. So it become a routine where okay, I want to like end the workday today. I'll just like open Netflix and let it run for 30 minutes, and then I'm staying at home in the
And
same
then you're
place.
you're home.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So okay, it sounds like you do kind of enjoy working from home. Do you prefer working from home, or do you prefer working from the office?
I think it's different. I think it's different because when you work in the office, you have your colleagues, you have your coworkers
Yeah.
to have a chat, to consult with and everything. But that's a good point because you get to have like spontaneous conversation with them. But when you're working at home, it's nice. You don't have to commute, you don't have to dress up, you don't have to prepare for anything like that much.
Hmm.
But like you don't have to get like you don't get to have this conversation where I was talking earlier. And
Yeah, that's true.
everything it's now like schedule, the calls, even the messaging. It's not like, hey, do you want to grab some lunch or something? It's not like that.
Mm.
Pro tip for
Yeah.
everyone: schedule your lunch hours. That way, you'll never forget.
Yeah.
How about you,
Yeah.
Krisha? Do you prefer working from home, or do you prefer the office?
Me, definitely actually working in the office.
Really? Okay. Why?
Yeah,
Why is that?
yeah, yeah, I do actually. I mean, I think I like the flexibility of being able to choose whether
Yeah.
I can work from home or in the office. But I would say that by and large, I would like to spend about at least 70 to 80% of my time in the office. There are people who say, is this like I guess in a very layman term, like a show face sort of mentality. I guess in a
Yeah.
way it is, but it isn't so bad, I guess, also because sometimes having that face time with your colleagues or your superiors, it helps in a very organic way to get some work done as well. Oftentimes I bounce ideas back and forth with my colleagues,
Yeah.
and there are certain, like, I think, like, decision making process that actually can get done really quickly when I just swivel my chair around, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
now it's
true.
not, it's like, okay, I'll Skype you, and I'm like, oh, how do I phrase this? Yeah, so it's yeah, you kind of pause there a little bit. Yeah, and I think there's another thing that not many people talk about, which is that sometimes when you get into a very stressful situation, your table buddy is actually your rent buddy, and I have lost that. So I'm actually I'm very sad because I have no rent buddy right now, and the stress levels are a lot higher.
Mm.
Of course, with COVID-19
Yeah.
situation. Yeah, it's like, oh, who do I rent to? And yeah, you don't pick up a phone right now and just like, hey, I would like to tell you about this situation. It's just a little bit
Why not?
strange to
Why
do
why
that. So
don't you do that?
yeah,
Just call someone and be like, I need 5 minutes of your time urgently.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's actually a very good point. It's one of the hidden struggles from working from home, especially compounded with the situation that the world finds itself in. There's a lot more stress on employees, everyone really, both mental and just trying to deal with the insecurity, the uncertainty of the future. It's
Mm.
definitely one of the things that really deserves to be in the spotlight in today's either social media or the global discourse, if you will. And I'm glad to say that there are quite a few people that are talking about the struggles of working from home. Gracia, do you find anything in particular other than not having a rant buddy, like specific to working from home?
Sorry, do you mind rephrasing that question?
Do you have anything you struggle with
Right.
working from home other than not having a rant buddy or not really knowing when to stop to have lunch?
Um, I guess that there are there are definitely a lot of struggles. So I think we mentioned quite a bit about the boundaries bit,
Yeah, true.
not being able to have, yep, the rent buddy.
Rant buddy.
Um, yeah, I think another bit about working from home is, and I guess it's related to boundaries as well. But I don't know if this is a very atypical of a Singapore works mentality, is where it's very hard to draw lines.
Okay.
Um, so as and when you're needed, you are supposed to be like on call. So
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So and the thing is that we are sort of like, if I need to go to the office, if on a normal day I can't, right? Because I would have to travel all the way to get to certain things.
Yep.
But
Yep.
now it's there, so I have to
On
just,
call 24/7.
yeah, like I'm on call a lot more often.
Yep.
I think I'm not sure if it's because of the nature of my work as well. A lot of work has also transited to WhatsApp. I'm not sure if this is to a lot of people as well. Like, people
Okay.
need answers very quickly.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
they want to know what are the latest updates from the government as well. So that has caused me to be like, I don't know, my WhatsApp has been like just off the hook.
Yep.
So I guess I'm not sure whether I'm really answering the question, but it's more of a, like, the boundaries have blurred so much, right?
That is a
And like,
legitimate struggle. It
yeah,
really
and
is.
I think that
Yeah.
it's mainly because this is a crisis. Many of us who are working in essential services, yeah,
Mhm.
you are in a way dealing with a crisis, and you have to just sort of adjust to that. Yeah, I guess so. Mm.
Okay, that's fair. You picked up on something there that was quite interesting.
Mm.
None for you because you work in a startup, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's a very different environment to a
Yeah.
traditional government organization. For you in the startup world, do you also find that you are more on call? Like, people expect answers more quickly than before?
Yes, I mean, yes, of course, because we are a startup, so everything is like fast paced.
Yep.
We like most of the time we think of the campaign today and we're doing it tomorrow or even in the same day. So you're supposed to be like on call all the time, even like this is very weird. I don't know if it's weird, but then like the meetings regularly, like they take place on office hours, right? But now it takes place like earlier, maybe early in the
Okay.
morning at 8 a.m. or
Ah,
later at 7. So you're supposed to be like there all the time.
yeah, but that's fair. I mean, you still have to be able to respond rapidly to changes in the industry. So
Yes,
perhaps that's why things are feeling a bit more urgent now, because
yes.
what's true today won't be true tomorrow, and you need to make sure that your customers and your clients know this. So you do have to communicate all this kind of stuff out to them.
Yes, yes, and it's like, and our business is, to like to just to answer or just to take care of the people who are our user, who bought, who purchased the service with us. So
Yep.
for example, the policies for flights from the airlines, it changes like every week or every day, so we have to make sure that we have the latest detail to provide our customers. So this is why we have to be perhaps on call all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gracia, I guess that doesn't really apply to you since the government's always going to be there. But for your specific industry focus,
Yeah.
how has this situation made you feel about the future, stability,
Hmm.
ongoing concerns?
Yeah, I guess I could answer for the industry that I work with. So I guess Chan would know I work with a lot of food-related companies. So yeah, it is a struggle for many of them, a lot of them, because in Singapore right now, restaurants are only allowed to do takeaway or deliveries,
Yep.
and obviously the volume has dropped a lot. Even then, because many people are just going to supermarkets, right? So I think it is definitely a significant impact when, in terms of revenue, they are seeing big dips. And it's a struggle because the livelihoods of many of the employees are affected. But I think, as with any crisis, very resilient and innovative companies also come forward. So I guess I could give a good example, which has been in the news in Singapore, and it's actually quite funny. So
Okay.
2 weeks ago, an enhanced, I would say, measure was announced, and of which one of it was that there will be no more bubble tea.
Oh
So,
no.
so all bubble tea shops had to close, and trust me, there was a huge like panic, or
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
I believe.
you
I
would imagine, right?
I can relate to that because I don't know if you're aware, but here in Thailand, the government has banned sale of alcohol for almost
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
2 or 3 weeks now. So there's like panic buying all over
yeah,
the shop, and we're
yeah.
still a dry country at this current time. So I do feel you, but that's a very interesting thing for them to pick to single out. Like, sorry everyone, no more bubble
Yeah.
tea.
Well, it was actually a beverage only shops, but so bubble tea
Gotcha.
fall under that. But what was
Ah,
interesting really was that so they found ways to actually get, I wouldn't use the word get around it, but they found ways to still continue their business. So some of them actually collaborated with other food establishments that could continue, and then it was sold as a supplementary item rather than a
okay.
food item only. And yeah, so it was actually interesting. I think it was these are times where people are able to see a lot more interesting collaborations, innovations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you have a ton of companies who have never been digital before, and this is a time where they are just sort of forced to do that, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I guess in a way there is there's that little bit of a silver lining as well.
Okay, fair enough. Well, all
Yeah,
right. To shift our focus into a bit more company oriented, Nan,
yeah.
perhaps you could tell us a bit about something that Traveloka has done in response to the crisis that maybe made you feel proud of the company, or you yourself to feel secure.
Mm. All right. So as an employee, so we like Traveloka has like this policy that we, like to allow us to working from home, just like, I don't know, maybe like just like 1 or 2 days after like COVID-19 was like a big thing in Thailand.
Okay.
So I actually really appreciate that. And the like people operation teams, the HR, they have been very transparent, and
Mhm.
they over communicate sometimes, but
Okay.
that's for the better. So I really appreciate on that. And also, like, we right now actually we are considering partially working from home, so
Yep.
where we split teams, or like doing AB arrangement to be present at the office. And for some people, like in Thailand, so we are not really sure that it's virus free outside, right?
Yep.
They
Yep.
also like give option to individuals to just, like, if you
Make
don't
their
want
own
to go,
choice.
if you are not sure, it's okay. You don't have to come back in the office. So that's really nice of them to
That is
to
cool. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
to prioritize like the employee safety first.
Mm.
Gracia, how about you? Has the agency done anything in particular that made you feel proud or feel secure?
Yeah, I guess they were very much at the forefront of helping us to adjust to working from home quite early on. So I think I mean, I guess as a government agency as well, we had to do these split team or flexible work from home arrangements quite, I think, even back in January or February. So it did sort of help to ease quite a lot of people into it. I think one thing that I guess I have been quite appreciative of is actually just my direct superior. So she is like a very easy to kind of communicate sort of person. So I mean, for a long time, even prior to COVID, we would always feel quite comfortable just like texting her, or just being very open to sharing our struggles with her. So that has really helped because even though we are not seeing one another, the communication lines are also very open. Um, and that really helps, I think, for many of us who may struggle because now you're not seeing someone face to face. How do I communicate
Mm.
in that same level as well, almost? I guess, like what Nan said, HR is a very key piece, I think, in this whole situation. So prioritizing the employee safety is very important. So anything about whether even like I think even taking a heightened safety measures, whether like is it at the entrance of the office, right? If you want to go in there, what do you have to do? Or temperature taking, or this sort of things. These are actually helpful, I think. They are looking out for us, and that helps us to know that we are well taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, feeling secure, especially during this time, is something that is definitely not underrated. But it's a good thing to hear that both your companies are taking steps in order to make you feel a bit more secure about the whole situation. Again, this is something that people don't always focus on, is the fact that this is actually a crisis. This is a global crisis that everyone is sort of going into. We were kind of thrust into it without really being aware or being ready in our own way. So I don't know if you've heard or not, but sort of online there's been this movement of productivity while being in isolation. So
Mm.
since you can't go anywhere, you may as well learn a new language. Since you can't go anywhere, you may as well, I don't know, make a coffee table or something. But there is also a bit of a pushback that's happening. Um, do you feel that, like, what are your thoughts on the whole stay at home, be hyper productive kind of um, feeling that some people have?
I don't know. Actually, I kind of disagree with that.
Yeah,
I
me
mean,
too.
Yeah.
puts a lot of pressure, I think, on people because being at home, not being able to go anywhere, that already puts a little bit of a mental stress. If you are in a good home, with good family, yeah, it's a lot easier. But we cannot discount that there are people who have difficult homes. It's just not going to be easy for them to work from home or even study from home, right? So I think that's something that has to be borne in mind. Not everyone has a stable enough home to be able to be productive even. And even if I do have a stable family, a stable home environment, I think I find that I think it's good to just kind of like take a step back and say, maybe it's a time also for us to pause a little bit, yeah, in that rush. Yeah, it's okay to not be as productive, to be as efficient. Whatever I can do in my means, and that's okay. So I think, yeah, I don't think I want to be extra productive at home.
That's
Yeah,
reasonable.
yeah.
None, do you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts on that?
Like I completely agree with that, because my situation is quite different from Gracie, because I live alone, so my family is like in another province. So, and I, like, in the first day of working from home, I was stressed and, you know, confused by the change of the routine and like the overall dynamic of working from home. And there were those days, and like there still are, that I have like writer's blocks or my productivity was low. But then, like, I remember exactly, I came across this article in the New York Times saying that stop trying to be productive. And, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
at the bottom line, it just like, we just have to like remind ourselves when we're stressed or when we are feeling down that this situation is not normal. Like, things are under different circumstances. Like, you have to just like remind yourself that it's okay not to be productive. It's okay to take some time off and to just take care of yourself. Like, you don't have to be guilty if you're just like laying on sofa, or, you know,
Yeah.
just like eating ice cream in your pajamas or something. Like, you don't have to be guilty for that, because
Only if
everything
you do
is,
it before work.
or after.
Or after.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true. You know, we got to keep in mind that we're not working from home. We're at home during a crisis trying to work.
Yes, yes, definitely.
So, okay, Nan, how would you like personally Traveloka to exit working from home and move back into the office? Like, what measures would you like to see taken, and if any, you know, or do you think they're doing enough?
Yeah. So like, an employee, like, apart from like preventive measures like temperature check at the entrance door, or like hand sanitizers, gel, or even like face mask provided, I would like to make sure that the working space is like sanitized as frequent as possible. So, you know, so we are sure that like the area that we enter, it's actually like clean and sanitized. And another thing is that I would prefer if there are options for employees to travel during off-peak hours to avoid crowds, like especially for our friends, our colleagues who need to use the transportation on a daily basis. Because I believe that, like, when we like publish this episode of podcast, like many offices in Bangkok or even in Singapore, like anywhere, they might be actually like operating like business as usual, and they're already like being back in office. So let's hope that is not the cause of the second wave of the spread.
Absolutely, that's for sure. Gracia, how about you? How would you like your agency to exit working from home?
Actually, I think Nan brought up a point that I was actually agree. I totally agree with about the choosing to work at off-peak timings. That really would help. I think I've heard of a company in Singapore that tried to do that. That had actually worked really well for the team. Everyone just came in at staggered timings and left at staggered timings. I think another one would be reducing, or rather like putting like only going down to very essential meetings as well. I found that actually a lot of my work can actually be done off site. So I guess there is that almost like that, I guess pre-COVID, that feeling like I have to be there present, like in person. And I've realized that I don't actually have to for quite a bit of things. So I guess that's something else that I guess that would be nice for some companies to realize, to sort of really say, hey, do you really need to be there? If not, it's
Yep.
totally fine that you don't have to. You can just do a call. Yeah, so I guess those are certain things that would be helpful for some companies who are just kind of like moving out, or at least in the next coming 1 to 2 months, who are exiting the working from home. Yeah.
You actually would prefer spending more time in the office than working from home. How would you feel, Gracia, if work from home became a permanent norm, you know, rather than just it's a benefit, but this is normally how we work, that your employers introduce? You know, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I need to rent a home then. I need to rent I need to get my own space then, if that's the case. I guess it wouldn't be all that bad. I think it really needs to depend whether it's a needs basis, right? If it really is, there is no choice. Like for example, if COVID becomes something that's just a little bit too long standing and we have to continue doing this, then I think yeah, we have to just adjust our routines around it. Um, Sorry, are you asking if it's gonna be like pre after COVID, and then we are still working from home? Is that the
Yeah,
question?
because a lot of companies, especially coming out of the US, they're actually realizing that, hey, maybe we don't need as many people in the office, as you were saying. So if it
Yeah.
became the new norm, how would you feel about that?
Yeah. So I guess that's fine. I think we have to then realize that all the learnings that we have from this work from home experience has to be translated into to after COVID times, right? Like whether is it the boundaries, whether is it keeping sure you are healthy, moving around, etc., etc. Um, so, but then again, I think it's also realizing that working from home is actually can be a how do you use that and maximize in a way not to be productive but to really take those time savings that you have and what can you do with that. So for me it's about spending time a lot more time with my family, so I'm just taking that and trying to see like the positive sides of it. I think some people will just like, oh, I'm just going to be negative about it. So I think it's like looking at your attitude, right? So if this is the lot that you've given, what can you do with it, and just be positive and run with it in a sense.
So like maybe learning a new language or making a coffee table.
Yeah. But I think it's not about being like entirely productive. It's about just having that kind of attitude that okay, it's not like I want to get out, I want to end this misery, but it's more like okay, so if this is really the norm, then what can I do? What else can I do to make it better for me? Yeah. I hope
Yeah,
that helps.
fair, fair. None, how about you? How would you feel if work from home became the new permanent norm?
Yeah, so actually I agree with Gracia because if you have like this lots of times at home, like how would you utilize it? Like it depends on you. But like on the other hand, we have to like think about like some people who cannot really work from home because it might even only work for a computer-based job. Because I have actually talked to my colleagues about this and they were like, and there are some problem that we have overlooked. For example, in order to do paperwork, you need office supplies, you need a copy machines, or even postal service, just to name a few. So I think if work from home become like permanent, we have to figure this out like efficiently. But for me, like personally, I would say I would prefer going back to the office because I like to collaborate with people like in person, in the flesh,
Yeah,
you
the
know?
social aspect for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and but just I think at the end of the day it's all about like balance. What works for individuals, what work best for me might not work well for you, and vice versa.
All right, interesting. So before we wrap things up, I've got one last question for you. Could you perhaps share what you personally have learned, like your number one takeaway from this period of learning from home? None?
Thank you for the question. Yes, actually I think we would like refer to the question earlier, because like earlier I was stressed and I have to put like myself on call all the time because I want to show my values. But then you just realize that you don't have to be on call all the time, because when your work, your personal life, and everything is now in the same place, you just have to create the boundaries and like be persistent and respect yourself that okay, this is not a working time, you have to spend more time with yourself. Yeah, I think, yeah, just like respect your own space and yourself is the takeaway that I get from this working from home period.
That's a very good and important takeaway. Gracia, how about you?
Okay, I guess I would sum it up in three things. So first, just chill. Don't be too hard on yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do what you can. Second, really, as I said earlier, try to see the positive side to working from home. So for me, it's spending more time with my family. For other people, it might be just enjoying the peace and quiet, and some people, yeah, like you said, learning a new language. I don't know. And third, I think is to just find creative ways, to still maintain that same rhythm of life. So for me, dancing was always a big thing in my life, going out to dance. I can't do that anymore. But there are a lot of ways that I can still dance at home, right? And it
Yeah.
involves quite a bit of moving of furniture, but it's okay. You still can do it. So there are still creative ways around certain things. Yeah.
So attitude, definitely very important. Thank you both very much for the advice.
Mm.
So I'd like to take this opportunity to wrap up the discussion. Thank you very much, Gracia and Nan, for joining us on the podcast today. Once again, our topic was working from home and employees' perspective. Thank you to everyone who joined in to listen to this episode of the podcast. As always, you can find us on all the social channels under Eko, that's EKO, or at our website, ekoep.com. That's EKOAPP.com. Stay safe during this time. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.